we're gonna go through the best world in every Kingdom Hearts game. There's nothing quite like entering the gummy ship, going on the world map, and seeing what mysterious new location you'll appear in next. Would it be a Disney World, a brand new original location, or are you literally going to be eaten by a whale in space? Each world has something that makes it special, so I wanted to pull my favorite from each entry. A few years back, I made a video talking about my 10 favorite world visits, giving multiple favorites to a variety of different games. I think Kingdom Hearts 1 had like 4 worlds in that video alone, but for this one, we're only going to choose a single world for each game. The one that I believe best sums up the Kingdom Hearts experience in that game, or the ones where I find myself the most excited to return to. But before I get into it, let me know in the comment section below, what is your favorite world in the Kingdom Hearts series? This always has incredibly diverse answers that I love diving into, so let me know. And while you're down there, please be sure to hit that like button. Helps out the channel in a big way. Now, let's start at the beginning with Kingdom Hearts 1. So Neverland in Kingdom Hearts 1 has always stuck with me throughout the years. While the world is pretty small in its size, they pack so much content in this tiny area. I remember when I found out that this world is actually laid out like a pirate ship, showing that the rooms are properly connected instead of loading into somewhere else. It was an incredible feeling to finally see Kairi after all this time, even though she was basically a heartless zombie at this moment. The calmness to come over Sora when he finally finds her is one of the best moments in the game. Riku has risen in the ranks of the dark, having more influence over its power, and he makes Captain Hook look like his personal errand boy, which is pretty funny. Peter Pan is also an interesting teammate because you don't really like him that much. He's kind of a butthole to Sora when you meet him, but he grows on you as his quest for Wendy unfolds. This is also the world where we get Sora's glide ability, a staple for Sora in the Kingdom Hearts series, while gliding and flying is just a normal part of his kit moving forward. The lore of Peter Pan is one of the most influential in the Kingdom Hearts series because of this. While you're not able to fly in other worlds, it's still nice to have glide to get to those tough to reach spots. At the end of it, Riku takes Kairi and ends up fleeing to Hollow Bastion. Neverland acts as the location to set the stage for the final battle. I know a lot of people might not like how narrow this world is, as it's very easy for the camera to get caught up on certain ledges, but this is easily my favorite world from the first Kingdom Hearts. Sometimes I just boot up the game and fly around the clock tower for a little bit. That freedom is a wonderful feeling. There's also the Phantom boss fight that unlocks later in the game, as he forces you to focus on magic attacks in order to win, completely changing how you tackle this combat situation. It can be pretty tough too if you don't know what to do, but it's really dope to figure it out and finally take this foe down. Not only that, but you get Tinkerbell as a summon in this world, as she has the ability to heal Sora over time little by little, and will eventually resurrect Sora if he runs out of HP. The number of times this pixie has saved the run is limitless. Still one of the best summons in the series from one of the best worlds in the series. So Chain of Memories is a bit of a tricky one to pick for, as all of the worlds in this game have been simplified for a more dungeon crawling experience. Each room is a box where you need to get the right card in order to move on to the next one, and all the worlds are like this for the most part. To give my flowers though, it's going to the actual Castle Oblivion. While the entire game takes place in Castle Oblivion for the story setting, you can play here as it's the final location before your battle with Marluxia. It's much more challenging and the world map is much longer than ever before. The solid white in this looks super dope and recontextualizes how we see the world. Up to this point, this castle has just been a series of long white hallways. Here we can see the different forms that this castle can take. This is also around the time that you learned the Trinity Limit ability, combining your powers with Donald and Goofy to give you an insanely cool animation that with enough power and proper timing can kill everything on the screen with just one hit. It made getting through this final world so much easier. Getting through the doors is a little bit tougher though, since the requirements are much higher in this world for certain doors, meaning you'll probably be spending a lot of time grinding for the right card if you don't have it. I do think it's cool that you'll get some cutscenes as you run deeper into the world. It's a nice change of pace and really helps push the story forward. We never get to return to this version of Castle Oblivion again, but this was dope as the game's final challenge. Hollow Bastion in Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite world in the entire series. I've said this time and time again, but nothing has come close to my absolute GOAT. So I've always described Kingdom Hearts as like a mixed drink. Kingdom Hearts puts together the Disney and the Final Fantasy aspects to create something new and unique, and that flavor of uniqueness is so vivid whenever we land back here. It has its Disney half with the inclusion of the 100 Acre Woods, featuring some of the best minigames we've seen in the series, and we've grown to fall in love with Tron and the Space Paranoids, which directly tied into the world's narrative with its security system and Ansem. Then there's all the Final Fantasy characters with the million things that they do. Every time that these characters touch the screen, they're either aura farming on me or on each other. Being able to team up with them for just a moment before the Battle of 1,000 Heartless was sick. They only pop in for a little bit, but it was enough to keep that lasting impression with me. Of course, there's the actual battle for 1,000 Heartless, one of the most iconic moments in the entire series, and one that showed us how powerful Sora truly is. And this is all only during the main story. When you clear that out, you'll get the access to the Cavern of Remembrance, a challenging final dungeon with tons of rooms, secrets, and puzzles. And we don't ever get an actual final dungeon like this ever again. It's so cool to explore it. And then you get to the end to find the Data Organizations, some of the best designed and most enjoyable battles in the series. The bosses that players talk about and put Kingdom Hearts on an entirely new level as a series. Hollow Bastion in Kingdom Hearts was a broken area that felt like danger was around every corner. But Hollow Bastion here, this is my second home. Like, I already signed the lease agreement for this house in Sid's neighborhood. That's why when this world came back in Kingdom Hearts 3's DLC, people were hyped. Even if it was just for a single room, this place means something special for Kingdom Hearts. Hollow Bastion will always be the greatest world ever in my heart. Hopefully Kingdom Hearts 4 could drop something cool like that, who knows. So Days brings back a lot of locations from Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, as it's Roxas' time in the organization working as a grunt day by day. Although this day-to-day often makes its conclusion in Twilight Town. This is the world where we get a majority of our character development, we get tons of scenes where Roxas is dealing with his own existence, and how his friends are also dealing with their current roles in the organization, sharing stories on top of the clock tower with some ice cream. This became the place we would go to decompress from it all. Not only that, but this world blew my mind as a kid. You gotta remember that this game was made originally for the DS. To see Kingdom Hearts in 3D like this on a handheld at the time was mind-blowing, and the world is basically identical to its Kingdom Hearts 2 counterpart with a handful of rooms missing. I could not believe how far technology had come at this point. Kingdom Hearts on Switch 2 as a concept would have given Kid Me a heart attack. It's also the set piece of one of the coolest final battles in the whole franchise. Roxas versus Xion facing off against each other for their own right to exist. The battle goes world to world in the early sections, but towards the end returns to the clock tower where it all began. I just have to say how iconic this moment is in the game, because it's the first time I've seen Kingdom Hearts get DLC for its story moments. So for the original release of the Days movie in the 1.5 collection, it would just cut to black when the battle with Xion starts. You're only able to experience the battle if you played the game on your DS yourself. Although a few years later, Square Enix ended up going back and releasing an update for the game, adding a full-fledged fight with Roxas and Xion, giving it more emotional weight in the film. Twilight Town is the centerpiece of the Days trio. I mean, it's right there on the box art, like what else can you possibly say? This is Roxas' home always, so to visit it again in a game like this in such a strong way, I loved it. So Neverland has been in the Kingdom Hearts series at least 2 times before Birth by Sleep. The Days version is much bigger and offered us actual Neverland to see for the first time instead of just a boat, but Birth by Sleep expands this idea by making it the biggest world in the game. There are tons of hidden areas to explore with their own hidden treasures to find, but this world has some of the best story moments in the game as well. I mean, what can I possibly say about Terra putting Peter Pan in his place? There was an in-game objective to put the beats on this cocky Disney hero, and it's one of my favorite things that they have ever done. That's for being mean to Sora in Kingdom Hearts 1. Not only that, but we get the fight between Aqua and Vanitas. I love that this takes place in the Indian camp, a prime location in this world. And we get the next part of the Wooden Keyblade plotline. Throughout the entire game, the Wooden Keyblade has been used to represent Ventus's youth. So to see Vanitas shatter that Keyblade in half with his own hands, it symbolizes everything that the story has been leading up to about leaving your past behind, and being plunged into a cold and brutal future. The boss fight itself is pretty fun too. I love fighting Vanitas whenever I can. It's one of the few times the Birth by Sleep trio actually spends time with other kids, to see how ones are living carefree while others are fighting for their lives. You also get Glide in this world again. While Birth by Sleep doesn't have the same elaborate level design as Kingdom Hearts 1, Glide is still really nice to just get around and see things. Neverland is always a good time whenever I come back here. So the interesting thing about Kingdom Hearts Recoded is how they handled their worlds. While it is a lot of returning locations from older titles, each world has been given a special gameplay gimmick to help make them stand out. Twilight Town has moments where it turns into a 2D platformer, Olympus Coliseum switches the gameplay to more traditional turn-based combat, Wonderland turns into an on-rail shooter for a little while. But you know what world has no special gameplay mechanics, and is also my absolute favorite entry in the series? Agrabah. While I'm not a fan of all the gimmick gameplay Recoded has, the actual core combat is some of the best in the series, and in my opinion, the best command deck game in the whole thing. Beating Heartless with your Keyblade has never felt this good on a mobile platform. This version of Agrabah is so much bigger too, adding an extended section to the Cave of Wonders, making it feel so much more elaborate than the versions that came before it. But then there's that juicy lore. So Recoded's story isn't the most interesting in the series. In fact, it's considered one of the worst stories out of all of them. Rightfully so. There's tons of pacing issues here, it's crazy. But there's the moment when Maleficent appears in front of Data Sora and just takes his Keyblade and destroys it, calling it a fake. This scene was so important, it was one of the ones that were fully animated on the DS version. Agrabah kind of functions like Neverland did in Kingdom Hearts 1, where it's the last stage before heading into Hollow Bastion. And Sora is drastically nerfed when you move on to this next spot. Still, it's very cool to see all this happen in Agrabah. This is my favorite version of the world in the whole series. It feels like the complete opposite of what was going on with Union Cross. I love spending months wandering around in the desert there. Yippee. So Traverse Town is a bit different than the other worlds in the series. In the original Kingdom Hearts, it acted as a safety boat for those who lost their worlds, as every one of its inhabitants seemed to be from elsewhere stranded here. But at the end of the game, when Sora defeats Ansem, all of the worlds are restored, and it's presumed that everyone goes back to where they belong. This means that all of the people have likely returned to where they came back from, leaving the world empty, completing its purpose as the safety boat world. The world no longer having a purpose ends up turning into a sleeping world, where it can assist those who are lost within its dreams. I mean, we never visit Traverse Town again in the non-sleeping worlds, so I like to believe the world just doesn't exist anymore. It served its purpose and has left, but the version we get in Dream Drop Distance does so much. I didn't think it was possible, but they made the world music for this area even better. Traverse in Trance is one of my favorite tracks in the whole franchise. It slows down the original Traverse Town track, making it feel calmer than before. Traverse Town has also been massively expanded, and there's so many new areas to go through, so much bigger than any other versions we've seen before. Of course, I have to mention the World Ends With You group, as they are the newest populants of this version of Traverse Town, and I like how their own personal stories with the games are being tied with the Kingdom Hearts lore. Like, they're still in the middle of the Reaper's game, where any wrong decision can be the difference between life and death. And oh my goodness, there's that Goober Sora, he's here too! The way they make this older world feel more homey than ever before, this is a definitive version of Traverse Town to me. Hopefully we can revisit it again the same way Sora did to his Dream Eaters. So technically this is still a Kingdom Hearts game. Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep: A Fragmentary Passage is the longest name for a game I have ever seen. And it's about 2 to 3 hours long and tells the story of Aqua during her time in the Realm of Darkness. While there is technically only one world in this game with all of it taking place in the Dark Realm, the levels themselves are split into different Disney properties, all of which have been warped due to the Dark World. You get the Cursed Forest from the Enchanted Dominion with all of its thorns, then there's the Magical Mirror sections inside of the Dwarf Woodlands. But if I had a favorite, it's going to be the first section taking place in the Castle of Dreams. When this game had a playable demo at E3, this is the area we were allowed to play in. And playing that demo is a core memory for me, as it was the first real taste of what Kingdom Hearts 3 had to offer. You run around the level finding various gears to open up the path later, but they're hidden all over, giving you a lot more verticality in your exploration. Collecting them will eventually lead you to a fight with the Demon Tide, which has been a staple of extreme darkness in the Kingdom Hearts series. I don't know, everything about this first few minutes is so special to me. 0.2 is peak Kingdom Hearts, one of the best gameplay experiences in the series. It kinda makes me sad knowing that this was supposed to be in Kingdom Hearts 3. If this were actually the prologue in that game, I feel like a lot more people would have loved that. Regardless, I enjoyed my limited time in the Realm of Darkness. Yes, I'm going to include Union Cross because it is technically a Kingdom Hearts game. While not as robust and massive as the other titles, this one has something unique, and that comes in the form of Wreck-It Ralph. Now, I've said this time and time again, I've wanted Wreck-It Ralph as a world in the series for as long as I could remember. I want to see Sugar Rush blown up with the giant budget that it deserves. So when I heard Wreck-It Ralph was finally coming to Kingdom Hearts, but it's on the phone game? I was crushed, especially at this point, I haven't touched a mobile game in years. It's cool that he's here, but I would have loved to see him in a big 3D game. The world even has its own Keyblade, which I thought was pretty cool. But they did something really cool with this version of the world, where Game Central Station is a key part of the Kingdom Hearts lore now. Without getting too deep into spoilers, some of the series' biggest threats have been trapped in this world with no way of getting out. The Wreck-It Ralph world is a Disney world directly tied into the Kingdom Hearts lore, just like Space Paranoids, 100 Acre Woods, and Toy Box. All have smaller things that push the main narrative forward, so if some of the main bad guys are locked away in this world, we might be seeing them again. Hopefully this means that this world will show up in a mainline title now. I am begging, Square Enix, Nomura, Disney, whoever, please just make it happen. The Kingdom of Corona is a masterclass in what it means to make a place you want to revisit again and again. It is easily my favorite world in this game by a large margin. The world is so colorful and lush with all the trees and bushes around, and the way that the light breaks through the leaves makes everything feel so refreshing. Like if I took a long breath inside of this forest, I feel like my lungs would probably be healed. I love that they made it so that both Rapunzel and Flynn are in your party. It was very easy for them to make just Flynn playable and keep Rapunzel outside of the action, but no, they gave her an entire moveset and combo moves to do with Sora. This is a Disney princess who is not taking a backseat to the action, and as you progress through the world, you'll find interactables to do with Rapunzel. These are small minigames, but overall make the world feel so much more alive. It also makes Rapunzel a much more likable character. It's a perfect combo. I know a lot of people rag on Kingdom Hearts when they just copy the plot of the movies, and I do agree with that sometimes, but I think the movie plot works perfect for this world. Like the scene where these two lovebirds are just sitting there and watching the lanterns, then it cuts to our goobers sitting around doing the same thing. It's nice to watch our fellas have fun in their adventure. They deserve it after everything they've gone through. And if I ever wanted to do a picnic in the Kingdom Hearts realm, it would be right here. So this is another Kingdom Hearts game without a traditional world. Since this is a rhythm game, every level is a song you'll just need to complete. That doesn't mean I don't have some favorite moments that I want to mention, but my absolute has to be in the song All for One from the Country of Musketeers. The background is great and it really nails the look of this world, but I love how specific you have to be with some of the timing in the song. On harder difficulties, they'll make you do stuff like this. Landing that part right there feels like crack. In Melody of Memory, you can also play some of the songs with your friends in co-op, half of the music for you and half of the music for them, and you two work together till the end. There's a moment in the co-op version of Raged Awaken that just tickles my brain. The The sounds there are just so satisfying. So I guess for this section, it's the Country of Musketeers and the Keyblade Graveyard? We'll just let it slide because I wanted to include Melody of Memory in this video. But yes, that's every Kingdom Hearts game that has released so far. For a fun little bonus, I'm going to guess my favorite worlds in the next Kingdom Hearts games. Even though we have no information or a world list, we're going to be taking a shot in the dark. Kingdom Hearts 4 will have a Star Wars world and it will be the biggest. I think they're going to put the most resources into this one to really make it shine. You'll have Luke Skywalker as a party member and Darth Vader as a boss. And when you beat the world, you'll be given a lightsaber Keyblade as a prize. Congratulations. And Kingdom Hearts 5 will be the final game in Sora's saga. And the best world in that game will be the Muppets. Sora, Donald, and Goofy will have their own puppet variations. And this is the hardest world they've ever produced because all the graphics are live action. They used actual puppets for the gameplay to capture the feeling of the Muppets. Kermit the Frog will be the strongest Disney party member who ever lived. How wonderful. But yes, these are the best worlds in every Kingdom Hearts game. World selection reminds me a lot of the hype around new characters like in Super Smash Bros., where people are constantly speculating who's going to make it, who's going to be cut, and a lot of the hype is if your favorites are going to be making the leap. Obviously, it's a little smaller with it just being mainly Disney stuff, but it's still dope to see a favorite film you grew up with be realized here. I'm still begging and pleading for Wreck-It Ralph. A summon alone is not good enough for me. Please. But yes, thank you all so much for watching. Please be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and stay awesome.